Hello, welcome to another exciting episode of Pete First Anxiety. My guest today is a psychotherapist specializing in individual group therapy with particular focus on supporting survivors of narcissistic abuse, both men and women. Please welcome in the one, the only Catalina. Catalina, how you doing today?
Fine. I'm happy to be here.
So why don't you tell everybody a little bit more about yourself?
I was born and raised in a narcissistic family. I have a lot of experience, unfortunately. So after that, I became a therapist specialized in this. It was just the normal way after that.
So are you? I've seen in your information sent over to me that you're Romanian as well. So are you here in the
Yes.
States or are you in
No, no,
Romania?
no, no. I'm in Romania.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, that's really cool though. I'm so glad you're joining us from Romania. It's really awesome though. You said okay, so let's get into this thing. You said
Yeah.
your family was very narcissistic. Now, was it everybody in your family, or was it one just family member in particular?
Grandmother and mother.
So it kind of
But
was
we stayed
generational.
together. Yes, yeah, we stayed together in the same house. And my father and my grandfathers were enablers.
Yeah. So when you say they were enabling, were they covering up from saying, "Oh no, they weren't doing those kind of things," and maybe clearly clarify that for people that may not understand that word.
yeah, well, enablers, that means that they believe the narcissist. They didn't defend me. Actually, they didn't do anything. When people go to therapy, they usually have something against, their narcissistic parents and grandparents, but they don't realize that enablers did them the same wrong, let's say, because, they didn't do anything,
Yeah.
I mean, they made
No.
them wrong by not saving them, by not defending them. So actually, enablers are just staying there around the house, let's say, and don't do anything, or just say, "Oh, listen to your mother," or "Listen to your grandmother," or
So let me ask you this though: why do you think enablers don't say anything? Do you think they're afraid to challenge the narcissist, or you just think it's just kind of like they don't understand what's going on fully?
Yeah, they don't understand what's going on fully. Some of them, but some of them just want to keep the peace. They want to keep the peace in the house, so they don't say anything. They believe that by not saying anything, the peace will be there. We don't want to create another conflict.
Hmm. No, I get
So
that
they
completely.
just, so they just don't say anything and let the narcissistic people do what they want. And at
Yeah.
some point, some of them believe that the narcissistic people are right and they're doing the right thing. So that is why they don't do anything because they're brainwashed.
Yeah, exactly. And that's usually what happens to narcissists, and the different kinds of narcissists, because my ex, she was very narcissistic. And my current divorce I'm going through now, my ex currently now is the same thing. Like she'd get mad because she couldn't control the situation. When she found out she was losing control, she didn't like that. So then she would try to cause a lot of drama for me, and things like that too. And then I would be the one that would just kind of cover for it because I'm like, it's not a big deal or whatever. And I kept lying to myself for a long time that
Yes,
it
exactly.
wasn't what it was, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so actually enablers maybe don't see the damage. They don't see the reality because the gaslighting is so strong, with the victims and also
Mhm.
with the enablers that maybe in some cases, they don't see the reality.
So, did you find it hard in relationships when you got out of your household, though, because you were being so gaslit
Well,
so much by a narcissist? Was it hard for you to interact with other people?
well, of course, I chose only narcissistic partners because that's all I knew. I can laugh now, but
Right?
yeah, it wasn't very funny. That's all I knew. I
Mhm.
mean, gaslighting and so on. Yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't know
no.
anything else. Yeah, and so I chose only narcissistic partners, which wasn't very good.
Right, and I could agree with that too, because that's really how my history's been going too. I had the one, and now I have another one, and it's like, it's so hard to break it because that's what you're so
Yeah,
used to. You fall into that normality, and then you're like, well, this is just feels normal to me.
yes, yeah. And even though we know everything about it, we read all the books and so on.
Right, exactly, so maybe you could give everybody at home some advice. Like say somebody's running into one of these situations. Oh no, let's start from this angle. How would they identify a narcissist? Like, because everybody throws this term around way too much, I think, these days. A lot of people automatically assume pretty much everything everybody's doing is narcissistic, but it's really not. How about you
No.
clarify for them what exactly it is?
Well, when a person has no empathy and no understanding for you, and they are not interested in you as a person, and you realize you are just a supply for them. Well, that's narcissistic, but not every person is narcissistic, because you are right. We use a lot the term these days. Yes, and if they think of their own needs and so on, no, they are not narcissistic. They learn,
Right,
and
exactly.
yeah.
I think people are quick to judge people and say that everything is narcissistic, even though they don't know what that exactly means. And it's the scary part about it is like half of them wouldn't even know if even it was happening to them.
Yes, yes, yeah. So if a person has no empathy and so on, then okay, it might be a narcissist, but not everybody is a narcissist. Because when we meet somebody and that person really knows what he needs, what he wants, say, "Oh, he's a narcissist." No, he's a very healthy person, and
It
we
always
can
comes
learn
up the
from that
conversation
person.
of, it always comes in the conversation of boundaries, and people set boundaries. A lot of people will say that too. Oh, well, you're very narcissistic. No, really, it's because
Yeah,
I know what
yeah,
I want,
yeah, yeah, and I know how to decide what I want, and I know how to put
right?
boundaries. Yeah, so that's not narcissist. That's very good. Well done. Keep going.
Right, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that people always say the same thing with boundaries, that they're always selfish and everything else. And it's it's very it's very disturbing because it's like, there's so much misinformation on the internet nowadays.
Yes,
You're competing against that because when you're meeting with these individuals, are you finding that becoming a common issue nowadays with the internet being out there, everybody having all this information, which God is too much for some people to handle. Everybody wants to
yes,
self-diagnosis and everything
yeah,
else.
yeah, yeah, and they come to therapy and they know, "Oh, but that guy was a narcissist." Or wait, 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 let's see. Yeah,
Kenna's like,
yes,
"Wait a minute,
or
hold on a second. That's not the case here.
or the
Calm down."
horses. That's not the cases. Okay, let's see some context there. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so let's not use this term.
And that's funny though. So, what was that one turning point though for you when you decided that you wanted to help other people that were survivors of narcissists? Was it just all those years of experience that you've had and things like that too?
Yes, yes, and because I already had the skills. Because in order to survive in my family, of course, I had to learn to notice, even the micro expressions and everything. So I realized I'm very good at that. Okay, it was something I had to learn, in order to survive. But anyway, yeah, I'm very good at it, and I realized I could use in my job.
Yeah, definitely. And you do group therapy's got to be interesting too, though, because you have a
Yes,
lot of
yes.
different people at once.
Yes, 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 but in the same time, for survivors of narcissism like myself, we know to read the room, because we need it for survivors. So when you enter a room, when you have a group, I can read the group very easily, and
Hmm.
even though one person speaks, I can see the others. So actually, it's very easy for me.
Would you say it's it's more of like it's better for a lot of people that need a lot of support though, because I see other individuals that have
Yes,
dealt with the
yes.
same thing you say, kind of mean like everybody kind of feels like everybody can lift each other up kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, because
So
in the group, everybody can support each other, and you hear their experience and so on, and you realize, oh, but it wasn't about me, but it's not me. Oh, it happened to the other guy. Oh,
I
and
love your
after that,
expression. You're like, oh, it was just me.
it is true, because when you stay, in your own bubble, you believe it's your fault, and
Yeah,
it's only my fault, and oh my God, I am to blame, because narcissists tell you are the one to blame and so on. And when you hear other stories, you realize, oh, but it wasn't about me. Oh, but that's another case.
exactly. You know what I mean? And it's more empowering because then you don't feel so alone. You feel like, all right, well, at least I know that someone else is going through the same thing I was dealing with. So, no, the next question obviously would be is like, what would someone do if they ran into a narcissist? Like, say they're in the situation and they're trying to get out. What would you say would be the best ways for them to handle the situation?
Well, first to be financially secure to be able to live,
Hmm.
because in many cases, for example, in Romania, they are not able to live because they have children, they have no place to go, they have no stable jobs, and so on. So the idea is to have a plan, to have a place to go, somebody to help you, and so on. But that is why it would be important to have a job, and not to stay a narcissist, give you all the money and so on, because when you want to live, you can't. So that's the first thing, to have a plan, not just go and stay in the streets. And after that, contact a lawyer if there is a marriage and you need to get a divorce, and find out what your rights are. Because a lot of times people just go and, lose houses and so on. even they had rights on that. So
Yeah.
that would be the steps.
Yeah, see, my situation is that I don't have any mutual property with them, so I don't have to worry about that. So the separation, the only thing we don't even have kids together, so I even looked out on this one too. So I got out earlier. My first one was 15 years of it, and it was just Gaslight City, all these other things. And it's like all these things that I look back now and I see, it's just like, it's why did I allow it to happen? Like other people were trying to help me, but they were unsuccessful because they could see what was going on, but I couldn't because the narcissist had such a cover over my eyes. I was just like, oh no. I saw it for something else. And I was always enabling them too because I was defending them because she had me so gaslit that I believed everything she was saying. And then after a while, when I started pulling back, you could see where the trouble was that she started like when she started losing grip, that's when she knew that she was in trouble there because she started panicking and started making a lot of trouble trying to try and stress me out more. That way she could regain control kind of thing, like that and all that kind of stuff now. And then the current situation was, we had a conversation and right there, what she said is like, they just have no empathy for you at all. I told her something, and then her answer was the defining moment for me. And then when she realized that it was already over, she was just like, you know what? Then she was trying to make it uncomfortable for me to be in the same living space as her. And I was like, yeah, I don't think so. I'm out. And when they found out I was leaving, then it was, oh, well, you can just get out now. Okay, cool. See you later. Yeah. And I didn't feed them. And with the one from the first 15 years, though, is it's interesting, though, too, because if you watch when you're having a conversation with them, if you don't enable them, watch how mad they get. They get so angry because you can't get you to react to anything they're doing. And they'll just keep trying and keep trying and keep trying. And it's so funny to watch because it's like when you realize what's going on and you start watching it, you'll start noticing the things that they're doing that were the ways they used to get you upset and start kind of like getting you to, and then it's, oh, well, you're the crazy one because that was the other thing she would do too. One of them was a very big covert. So to everybody around her, oh no, I'm the world's greatest mom. I would never do that. That was never me. You know what I mean? And then really what was really going on was
Yeah.
she was really the evil one that was causing all the problems, And as soon as that started happening, she got mad because then I started revealing that the real truth was that it was her, it wasn't me. And it's always that situation. It's always your fault. Don't forget. It's never your fault. It's always your fault too.
And what helped you to get out of those relationships?
I had a friend of mine that he just like him and I were just he was pointing things out little by little to me and just kind of like he was going factual based at things like, hey, look at these things that are going on. He said, you need to start realizing what's really going on. And he started like giving me facts because I was one of those people like, I'm like, you got to show me the facts. I don't believe anything people say. So little by little, he was just pointing little things out and little chinks in the armor that would just start happening. And that's how I started to realize what really was going on, and things like that too. So when I finally figured it out, it was, oh, I'm the bad guy. They called the cops on me, had the cops remove me from my house, and because I'm the bad guy. Remember now, I'm the bad guy in this situation. Whatever I'm doing, I'm the bad person. Oh no, she's running in fear. And it was always painted as I was the bad person because that's what covert narcissists do. They paint themselves as the good one and then you're the bad one. Whenever something goes bad, it's always you're the bad one. That way everybody believes them, and that kind of thing. So I just kind of just had enough finally. And I just woke up and just realized what it really was going on. And I was just like, you know what? I'm just done. I can't do this anymore. And then like I said, as soon as it's like that final boss kind of thing, like, oh God, oh, she just like couldn't keep any grip on me anymore. You could tell she was losing it because she would try everything possible. Like, I mean, she stole my car, she stole money from me, she stole my belongings from the house. Like, I went to work and I came home and all my stuff was missing and things like that too. So I was just like, So, but this time around, I started seeing the signs early on. And I was like, okay, yeah. So I started keeping my stuff to a minimum. So I'm like, all right, I got very little things I'd have. So like if I was getting out, I was ready to go. I was getting out. I'm getting out. I got a plan. I'm ready to roll, just like you said, have a plan. So I luckily got out before it got worse.
Yeah. So you learn from one relationship to another.
God, yes. Let's hope it's not a repeating process anymore. I've already had to listen to that.
Let's hope next time will be better.
So Catalina, do you have any children now?
Yes, my boy is an adult. He's 23 years old.
Okay, all right. So have you told them about your past and things like that? I mean, I know that you do a lot of work in mental health and
Well,
stuff. Do you?
yeah, well, I raised him as a single mother.
Okay.
And, well, at some point I will explain to him about narcissists and so on, but I didn't do it yet.
Yeah. So you do plan to talk to him about it. That's really good, though. I
Yeah,
mean, it's good to
yeah,
teach him so he knows not to fall in the same traps you did.
yes, yes.
It's good, though. I
And for
mean,
many years, I believe the world is very dangerous and so
mhm.
on. And it's good that I didn't teach you that, you know? Yeah, now I
Right,
know that the world is not a bad place.
right. So what kind of do you own your own clinic in Romania?
Yeah, yeah.
So do you have like many other people that work under you, or are you just like you run in a solo practice on your own?
Now, solo practice, and I am a therapist, a speaker, and the founder of Alive in Her Global Movement. I have
Okay,
just launched a global movement.
so let's get into that movement though. When did you first start launching that movement?
Well, I started it 2 months ago, so
Okay.
only 2 months ago. Yes,
Well, you
yeah,
got to start sometime. I mean, that's good though.
yeah.
You started, like, you know what I mean? That's really cool. So, what was the inspirational moment for that though? What really led you to this? Like, you know what? I need to start this empowering movement because it's hashtag is right there in front of it, and that's very big nowadays. Hashtags are a big thing nowadays.
Yes, yeah. It's called Alive in Her because, we just survive, don't live, from narcissistic relationships. So it's very important to start living,
Hmm.
to start believing, to find that fire inside of us and living and finding nice things, find what you like, and so on. And at the moment, well, in Romania, there were a lot of murders this year, over
Jeez.
50. Yeah, a lot of women were murdered by their partners or ex-partners. So yeah, that was the moment I realized, oh, this movement is really needed. And of course, it is a global movement. It's not only for Romania, but
Yeah.
that was the
No, no.
point.
I get what you're saying, though. You're saying it's you started in Romania, but the idea is you want to go global because you want
Yes,
everybody to be able to. And I get that completely. So, do you guys offer resources for people, like especially for women? I mean, because that was your main focus for this one, right?
yes, yes. But we receive men too. Okay, you are welcome to come.
She's like, "Don't worry, fellas. You're not this included. Don't worry. It's okay."
Well, I have a Facebook group, and
Yeah.
there it's a private Facebook group, and people can share their story and so on. There are people from all around the globe. They are from America, they are from Romania, Poland, and many other countries,
Oh, that's so
and
cool.
they support each other and so on. And the group is growing and growing.
Well, that's good though. I mean, and you said you only started 2 months ago. It's already you got
Yes,
plenty of
yes.
time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The group has already has how many members? 800 members,
Damn.
almost 800.
Damn, in 2 months. Oh, God. All right. Never mind. Okay. Well, that's really good then. That's good.
Yes, and it's growing organically, so people invite other people and so
Yeah.
on. And in the group, people offer something. For example, they offer a virtual coffee or free therapy or free coaching or anything like that. And somebody else from the group takes that. Maybe somebody else from the group needs exactly what another person offers.
Yeah. That's
So it's
something.
very interesting because it's like a paid forward, but it's
Mhm.
paid forward inside the community,
Mhm.
inside
Yeah,
the
oh, yeah, I
group.
get that. That's awesome, though. I love that. I love that you've already got that big of a response, and like I said, like we were talking about before I hit record, though, it was, narcissism was a big one for when we did this early on in the original first season of the show. Me and another guest had talked about her and I's story, and people were saying that it was so hard to finish the episode because they were like, it was hitting home, which is good because that's what you want when you get into this topic. You want somebody to feel it because you want them to know that, hey, listen, you're not alone in this situation. But man,
Yeah,
in two
that's
months, already
exactly.
800 people and still going. That they listen, you've got something going there.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, yeah. And the movement is not only about survivors of narcissism; it is for all the women out there. But we know that people from narcissistic relationship, can be very lonely and so on.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, no, I
people who
agree.
are not in narcissistic relation can be very lonely too. After Corona and and so that is why it's good to have, a safe space. And actually, this movement, came from my own need because it was my own need to have a community, a global village, a healthy family.
Right.
Yeah, so
Exactly.
I had this need and I created it.
Well, it's awesome. I mean, that's really cool. You did it out of your own necessity, and this thing is taking off like wildfire, and
Yes,
then you never know. In a year, you could have 10,000 people in this group, man, and you're going to just be like
yes,
popping off and everything like that, too. And it'd be really cool to see, though, where you guys are at in a year, where this
yes.
movement is going and things like that, too. So that's really cool. Do you guys have a social media account just for that?
Yes, yes. Well, the group is called Alive in Her,
Hmm.
and the site will be aliveinhermovement.com, and it will be ready this month.
And it'll have the link to the Facebook group in there, too, so people we
Yes,
can link in the
yes,
show notes. Awesome. That'd
yeah.
be
And
awesome.
the
Okay.
Facebook group is Alive in Her, so it's easy to be found. And the next November, I will be your guest at the podcast, and I will tell you how the movement grew.
Heck yeah, we will, definitely. Listen, I've already considered it. Heck yeah, if you listen, we're already thinking same thing. We're thinking we need to do an update. We want to find where this thing's at. We want to celebrate these milestones. Of course,
Yes.
I'm a big supporter of anything, honestly, mental health wise. When the reason I started this podcast originally was, my own journey, but now it's like, this conversation's needed so bad because I'm out to march with people now that are wanting to be on the show, and as you see, the demand is crazy to be here. So I love it when I hear people like yourself that are doing the things, and you're not even in the States, you're in Romania, and you're still hitting it off that bad. And that's really cool to see that all these people internationally can get together and still kind of come together, and unite as one, and that's always the struggle, I think, with international versus, the US, because a lot of different views that happen in there for that kind of thing. But it's so cool to see that, it's taking off like wildfire though for you. I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, and it's very important to know that, actually we speak the same language.
Hmm.
And no matter where we are in the globe, we can support each other and so on. So, yeah, it's not important if it's Romania, America, and so on.
Definitely, definitely. But I love it. I love it when I get people from across the pond that come on the show and things like that too. It's so interesting to see, the different views of things that go on over there versus here, like our just very, I feel like with the internet, it's a hit or miss. You know what I'm saying? Like with a lot of these people out there spreading this information, and things like that too. So let me ask you a question though. I normally ask people at the end of the show. So if you could break the stigma about mental health, okay? So when I say this question to you, it means something that you see on a daily basis that like you're scrolling on Facebook or you're on Instagram and you're like, dude, can you just stop listening to this crap? What would you say that would be?
I don't know. There are a lot of crap things.
She's like, I got a list. She's like, you got 20 minutes and a cup of whiskey because it's gonna get rough.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, there are a lot of things. But,
Just whatever you think the most common one you seem to think that comes across on your feeds, like you're over there just kind of scrolling a little bit and things just pop
yeah,
up and you're just like, oh God, here we go again. Can we stop with this?
well, because, holidays are coming, families are, putting the pictures of their families and the ideal families with husband and children, the Christmas tree and everything. And I have a lot of clients who look at this picture and, they get depression and anxiety
Mhm.
and so on because they believe what they see. They believe that, those family really have the perfect, perfect families with that, all the relatives and Christmas tree and so on. So, for me, that's the
No, I
supreme
agree.
bullshit. Yeah, because from my point of view,
No, I agree with you
because,
though.
yeah, because that's not real. And those families have struggles, and those families, most of them are not happy. But, they post that picture and make others envy and make others wonder, oh, but why can't I have this and so on.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
But a lot of people.
because holidays are coming, that's bullshit for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. I listen, I love it that you just said it's bullshit because me, I love it. I just like, listen, you can say whatever you want in these four squares of this room that we're in because I agree with you on that one. I feel like a lot of those, it's like, you see those pictures, but then what is the really reality of what's going on in those families that you don't know? You know what I mean? Like to me, it's just like, it's kind of like a lot of these awareness months where people just kind of like jump in. It's clickbaity, real clickish bait. You know what I mean? Like people are always quick to jump. Oh, well, it's a hot button issue. So let's post these
Yeah.
really crazy photos online or this today's whatever awareness month. It kind of just like aggravates me because it's like, okay, that's cool, but what about the conversations afterwards? We always suggest, like, me as a mental health advocate, I always suggest that people check in on your friends around the holidays because you never know what people are
Yeah.
going through and things like that too. And that's the reason why those photos like that show up and they give the wrong sense of, what a family really is like because it's like nobody's family's like that. Like we've all seen the TV shows, we all see these things. It's not like that. Come on now. Like if you think your family's like that, I think you're lying to us completely.
Yeah,
There's no
but a
way.
lot of yes, but a lot of people, especially women, believe in that pictures and believe in the realities that picture, show, which of course is not true in most
Hmm.
of them.
It's bullshit,
And
right?
it's very,
I
yeah,
love it
it's
when you say
bullshit.
I love when you say it's bullshit. It just makes me laugh so much.
Yeah, 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 it's bullshit, but it's a pity that a lot of people believe that image and believe that, those family are like that. "Oh, I'm a loser because I don't have such a family and so on. And, I can't convince them, oh, but it's not real. And in many cases, it's not real, but they don't believe it.
Right.
So, yeah, that's bullshit and that's sad. So, for the holidays, as the holidays are coming,
I just
don't
love it when you
believe.
say it's bullshit. It's just funny the way you say it, just say it's bullshit. I'm like, oh my God, it's fucking makes me laugh so hard every time. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so we may tell your listener that now the holidays are coming, don't believe any pictures on Facebook or Instagram or, TikTok. They
Right,
might not be
exactly.
real. I mean, the reality.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's a false image. Yeah, I get that
Yeah,
completely
it's a
too.
false image.
So let me ask you, in your own opinion, do you think that men or women are more likely to be narcissistic?
Well, both.
You think it's an equal amount, pretty much, from what your own experience?
Yes, 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 yes. But of course, women get to therapy more often. And that is why we have that image that, oh, only men are narcissistic, oh, men are bad, oh, we don't like men, and so on, which of course is not true. And there are a lot of narcissistic women too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
because women really usually go to therapy, that is why we have this wrong image that only men are narcissistic. But of course, it's not true.
Very true, very true. But why do you think men don't talk about it enough? Do you think it's still because it's that generational thing that's been passed on through families and families? Like your mom and your grandmother were both narcissistic, and then
Yes.
your grandfather and your dad were both the enablers in the group. Do you feel like that's why it is that we continue to have this, the misinformation coming down from the different generations?
Yes, and the shame because women usually talk to each other. Oh, my husband is narcissistic and so on, but men don't talk, over a beer. "Oh, my wife did this to me.
Yeah,
My
you're not
wife did
wrong
a
though.
lot of gaslighting for me," and that is why because men don't. We know men don't cry. Oh, how can you cry? You're too sensible. So men don't cry, men don't share this, and that is why they remain in their bubbles, and sometimes they remain in their depression actually because because of shame they don't share this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's interesting too because I had a conversation with somebody on this show. We did a whole hour-long conversation about negative thought process, and we got into that about the difference between men and women is like just like you said, women like to talk, they're more social. Men are kind of like we have this hierarchy system. We're trying to always outdo one another no matter
Yeah,
what. To me, it's just kind of like I don't like the whole alpha male aspect of things just because to me it's like you're giving off the wrong idea to men these days, especially these younger generation of men that we have now. It's like, with suicide rates being 80%, you know, of men. It's just like, what is going to be the percentage for us to finally start talking, And it's always because we're always too scared to say something. But a lot of times I feel, and what I've heard from other people I've been on the show is that usually one person's waiting for somebody to say it, and then everybody's jumping in the party, man. Like everybody's just dropping it at once. And it's
yeah,
it's maybe that's what it is. Maybe we just need one man to start the movement, kind of like what you're doing right now. You have the
yeah.
movement, you're like, oh, listen, let's do it. So but it's
And then we may encourage men to speak out, and maybe their friends will speak too.
Yeah, definitely. No, definitely get
Yeah,
that
so we
completely
can
too.
have this message for a listener, just speak out, talk to your friends, tell them what is happening in your home, and, of course, if they are supportive friends.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's definitely. For all the listeners at home, what would you say to someone that's getting gaslit? What would you tell them is the best strategy to deal with being gaslit?
Well, to check the reality.
Check it
Yeah,
out. Check
because,
fact checked it.
yeah, check the reality. Because usually in gaslighting, and usually when it's gaslighting over many years, we don't know what the reality is, and we are not sure of the reality. And so the best way is to check the reality.
You're
And
right though because
exactly in your case, a friend came to you and gave you the evidence. Look, these are the evidence, that you are in a toxic relationship. That's exactly the same.
yeah,
We need to
you
check
know
the reality, to remember facts, or to ask friends for some situations. So we realize that we see things correctly.
Yeah. And a lot of times what she would do too is she would invent these people and tell me like, hey, oh, you've met this person before. I'm like, no, I haven't. Oh yeah, yeah, you met him before. Da, da, da." She was real good at it too. Like she was real good, like just spreading that. Oh yeah, you've met this person before. Like storytelling it real good to like try and make me believe that I forgot ever meeting these people. And I have a really good memory too. And I'm like, I don't think so. I'm like, I've never met this person. I knew for sure. That's when the turning point was really for me was when she started telling me about this person. And she's like, oh yeah, you met this person. We used to go to school together or this or that or something. She kept coming up with. I'm like, but you didn't go to school in the state we're in now, so that makes no sense. One, I've never heard this person's name before. Two, because I remember most of your friends' names and things like that. I've met most of your friends, so I know. So that's when I started getting a little kind of like, something here don't sound right. And that's when I went to that friend, and him and I were discussing it. And he was like, "Yeah, that sounds like there's something going on there." And then I started kind of bringing stuff to him. I was like, "Hey, man, I need to ask you about something, you know?" And that's how we started getting to that thing where he was just like, "Bro, are you that dumb? Do you need to wake up and realize?" Like, this is literally what he told me. He goes, "Are you stupid? Do you not realize what's going on? Let me tell you, paint it out for you, man." And he was just telling me, he's like, "Look at the things," and he just started presenting the facts of things for me, you know. And I was just like, "Oh, okay. Well, that started makes." And then I started noticing them for myself, and I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, this makes no sense." Like, okay. And then it was always the constant lies of, "Oh, you know this person. Oh, it's this person." And then the person she was eventually cheating on me with was worse. It became the brother. Then it was the cousin. Then it was somebody. The person kept changing to keep me guessing on who this person was. "Oh, you've met him before. You know what he is. Da, da, da. I was over there hanging out with whatever." And it's just like, in most situations, guys, if you're listening, like it's hard, man. Start like Catalina said, make sure you start digging through the facts of what really is being said to you, because they'll make it hard for you to believe anything they're saying, because they'll change it on you. Oh, no, no. Like, they'll try and keep you confused, to that point where you're just like, well, I don't know what the hell to believe anymore. This doesn't make any sense to me, and that's what they're trying to get you to do eventually.
Yeah, that's their intention. And we may recommend to your listeners the movie Gaslight with Ingrid Bergman.
Yeah, true.
Have you seen it?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I have.
Yeah. Yes. So we may recommend them the movie. That's exactly what Gaslight is.
Yep. Yeah, I know. And I always think of it as, I don't know if you've ever seen Fear, Loathing in Las Vegas, like how the distorted reality he had the whole time was. That's what they're doing to you, essentially. They're making your reality not seem like it is. They're making you question reality at times, too, because, you start like hearing these things. And it's like the same thing in the movie. He's hallucinating that the bats are there, but they're not really there. So that's what they're
Yeah.
doing. They're basically essentially giving you that, whatever that bat is in your story is what it's going to eventually be, is what they're trying to do to you, is get you to believe that this thing is here, and stuff like that, too. And it's really interesting though, because when you get caught in these situations, it's like, everybody's always like, well, why don't you ever leave? Like you said, if you don't have a plan, you can't just leave. Like, it's especially when it comes to
Yeah.
children. Children get weaponized very easily these days with that kind of stuff too, and they tend to use those against you as well.
Yeah, and in Romania there are a lot of cases, and a lot of men, just tell their wives, "Oh, if you leave, I will take you the children," or and things like that. Out of fear, they don't leave those marriages.
So over there, is it different though? I know here a lot of times, a lot of courts will side with women here. Is it like that in Romania, or is it kind of more like they side with the men?
Well, no, they side with women, but women are afraid that men will bring a lot of evidence. But of course, it's a false evidence that they are crazy, that they can't take care of the children, and so on.
Yeah.
Some of them are even afraid to go to therapy because they are afraid this will be used against them. "Oh, you are crazy. That is why you went to therapy," and so on.
Right. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah. I think that's why I was afraid to go to therapy for the longest time. She always told me go get help. But then I was like thinking about it like, is she going to turn and weaponize this against me? Because everything you say will be turned against you. And I know
Yes.
my current marriage was like that too. She'd take everything you say and just flip it on you. So like you couldn't make any little comments or anything else like that. Or it was like, oh, look, you're crazy. Okay, okay. Well, I'm gonna call 988. I'm gonna call, all these things she tried to use, and then it'd be like try to bait you into say them. She'd stress you out, but just she knew how to push my buttons to get me going. And I start saying things, not thinking about what I'm saying, and then she just started weaponizing them. And then when I start realizing what was going on, I was like, oh, I'm not saying anything else anymore because excuse me, sorry. I'm like, she's using these things against me because she knows what she's doing. And she was calculating the attack the whole time. So,
Yeah. Do you know the funny thing is, children like me have no voice because, of course,
hmm
they are not allowed to have a voice, or if they say something, it can be used against them. So that is why I express myself more easily in English than in my native language, in Romanian, because just like in English, nobody took my voice. But in Romania, I was so told that I am not allowed to speak, or everything was used against me, that is not very, I mean, it's easy to talk, but not on hard things, let's say. That is why when I'm a speaker and so on, it's easy for me to be in English.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I bet
And
it is.
I realize it one day, and oh my God, oh.
Well, like you said, though, I mean, because you think about it, like Middle Eastern and in their culture, the females really don't have much say in everything, and things like that
Yes.
too. And we've had a guest on before. She was talking about that, how it was like she was getting abused, but that's normal. That was the normality for her because in their culture, that's how it was. Like, the men have all the say, the women have no say anything. In a lot of these other countries, it's what it's like too. Female really don't have like I think it's like Asia over there and that area more. It's like female really don't have much say when you're in a marriage. It's obvious the man that makes all the decisions. You have to follow them regardless of whether you think they're wrong or not. And if you're wrong, you go against it. That's it. Nope, nope. You're defying them. You're defying them. That
Yeah,
whole kind of thing, and it gets turned against you.
and in many countries, the woman is seen as a property, as the man's property. So she's not a human being on her own, let's say, with her own rights and needs and so on. But if you went through narcissistic marriages, what do you think it would help you to find a healthy
Hmm.
relationship?
Yeah,
What do you think it would
because
help you next time?
yeah, exactly. And then you wouldn't know what to look for. And when you get in it, then you're kind of like, I don't know how feels weird to me because I'm not used to being treated as an equality person here. Now it's kind of like, I
Yeah,
don't know about this. So yeah, I get that completely.
yeah. So do you know what you are looking for in the next person?
Anything that's not my ex, let's start with that one for sure. It'll be a
Yeah,
while before I do anything, honestly. I think right now my plan is I'm just gonna kind of do me. I got too many things I want to do, too many goals I have and things I want to get done right now that I'm just not gonna allow somebody to hold me back.
to
And like when I
disturb your peace again.
I mean, and it was like I noticed it at first when I started this podcast, they were really against it because they didn't like the fact that they couldn't control what I was doing, and my therapist and I were talking about that and she was telling me, she was like, yeah, you know what it was is that she couldn't control that situation. So she's mad. So she made it uncomfortable for you when you're recording. But I didn't care. I was like, I'm doing it anyways. I love podcasting. When I started doing this thing, I enjoyed it ever since I hit record. Fast forward 200 episodes down in the first season, I did 200 interviews with 200 different people and it was great. I had a great time every time I record. Her reason for it was that she said, "Oh, well, it's because you're meeting other women. You're talking to other women." I'm like, I'm interviewing women for a reason. I'm not asking them for their phone numbers or any like anything weird that would go on in like a kind of situation where you would think something odd is going on because she's like, "Well, you're going to meet somebody." She did make that comment though that stuck with me was like, "Well, you're going to meet somebody," and I was like, "Okay, that's what it is. It's the fact that I'm going to meet somebody to find out that you are not the one." And you're very toxic for me, and that's what you don't want me to realize is talking to these people that start to get the breakthrough, the idea that, you just don't mesh well with me and you don't like it because you can't ride my coattails and you can't have me pay for everything. Because, like she was very big into the traditional marriages. Man pays for everything and things like that. And, handle all the bills and things like that too. And then her money is her money kind of thing. And it was like, it's no real equality because I didn't really agree with those. So like this time around, whenever I'm ready, it's definitely going to be somebody aligns with what I feel too. It's like we have to agree on a lot of things because I'm not going to tolerate dealing with any other shit anymore after this point because if I would have listened to her and never started this podcast, I would have never had as much fun as I'm having now. I would never got through half the things I got to. I got to be on a media panel. I got to meet a Holocaust survivor. I've met all these different people that are like top 1-2% in their respective podcasting categories I've had on the show as guests and things like that too. I get to meet people such as yourself from Romania. I've got friends that are all the way in Australia that I meet too, and the other thing she did too, I don't know if this is really common with narcissists, but she always tell me, she's like, well, you never met these people in person, so they're not really your friends. She always call them fake friends. Like, she's always like trying to bring you down any way she can. Well, you don't have real friends. This and that. You don't have real friends. They're just fake. You never met them in person. And it's like, but really, is that really what a friend is? Like, what, you can't be somebody's friend even though you haven't met them in person? Like my buddy and I, we hadn't met each other until a couple years after that whole situation. It doesn't mean that they're not really friends. Like you still get that human connection no matter however you're connecting with people. To me, it's just like, it doesn't matter really. Does it have to be an in-person friendship? Probably not. Sometimes it isn't. Some people live in other countries. That's the great thing about the internet and the power of the internet is that you can meet other people, other countries and make friends with other people and learn about what their cultures are like over there. And, just have, different friends you can get different opinions with and things like that too. So, and it's, to me, it was just like all these things after I've been reflecting this whole year. I've been noticing these things as I started playing them back. I started noticing these little things as I go, all these different kind of things that they would do to set these situations up. And I could see where the friction started. And it just continued to build until we had that conversation where she was like, well, I don't want to cheat on you or consider it. And to me, that says that either A, you've either done it or B, you've considered it. You know what I mean? Like there's
Yeah.
no other way going around it. Like, you're not gonna make that comment unless you've either done something or you're feeling guilty about it and you're trying to just kinda hint at it and think I'm gonna go crazy because she knows I have really bad anxiety, and if she plants that idea, the idea will just take off running, like, super fast, and things like that too, and I think that was her tactic, but when I didn't give in and I didn't react the way she wanted to, you could tell she was getting kind of frustrated because she was like, but add in the fact that she had a really, really bad alcohol problem. Like when I say really bad, I'm talking like she's drinking bottles of the liquor of her choice. Like she's drinking a bottle of Coke. Like, oh yeah, like I'm talking just slamming them. And it's like, and then you notice the personality changes. Like we had a couple hiccups along our marriage too, where like we had drank whiskey together one time. Let me tell you, this is the last time. So this story gets real wild. Okay, so we started drinking, and then she just like turned into this whole other person. Like she went autopilot. It's somebody wholly different I've never met before. It's just like, ooh, no, I don't like this. She literally was getting like knives out of the kitchen, trying to stab me with the knives and things. Like she was getting like crazy. You know what I mean? I was like, oh no, man, it's just the alcohol, man. We just drank too much. We're just getting wild. And she's always been kind of an aggressive person, but that's always been her nature since I met her too. She was really aggressive. But then I found out later on that when we met, she was still abusing pills and things like this too. And I didn't know because I didn't know what I was looking at. I don't know what I'm looking at. Things like that. I didn't know, now I know what to start looking for, with all the friends and things I've met that do different areas of podcasting like this too. Like I have friends that do addiction podcasts. So a lot of times I can go check with them. Hey, listen, hey, I need to ask you a question about something, and then they'll help me, identify these signs, which is so nice because everybody I meet is a new contact I could reach out to. Like, hey, Catalina, I got a question for you. Like I could reach out to you at any point, be like, hey, listen, I got a question for you. Da, 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 whatever, and ask you a question. So that's a great thing about it. So, but there was that for an example, like, and then she had really bad PTSD too. So there was another time that she had a moment where she went complete autopilot. And, anybody that hasn't dealt with something with PTSD, basically what's happening is that the lights are on, but nobody's home. She doesn't
Yeah.
remember a single bit of this, what happened, this whole scenario. So what happened was she went outside, came back in, the door flies open, okay, swings, hits me in the face, and I swing back just out of reaction because I didn't know what was going on. My fight or flight instincts kicked in. We get into a struggle and we're like going around the house, knocking stuff over because she's literally trying to she's coming at me like super aggressive, like she's ready to fight, like with intent to kill kind of thing. Then she went to the kitchen again and got a knife and was just kind of like flashing it at me kind of thing, and it was like, not a lot of people know this story. So you're like really only one of the other people, no, only a few people know this story really. So, but she would try and stab me with it almost, but never did. But you know what I mean? She's kind of showing it to me kind of thing. And I literally almost had to choke this person out because I was like, I tried to hold him down to restrain him, but it wasn't my intent to try to, but she was trying to fight me back so bad. Her face was turning red and she was turning different colors. And then she was just kind of making it like be more extreme than it was. So making me think I was choking her, but it wasn't. I was just trying to get her to calm down. So after the moment, everything, when she finally came back to, she was like, I don't remember anything. She's like, why is all this stuff knocked over? Like she had no idea what had gone on in the last like 20, 30 minutes of what was going on. When she finally came out of this state of just complete psychosis, she had no idea what was going on the whole time. And it was probably the craziest thing I've ever dealt with because I've never had dealt with it. And then I was guilty. I felt guilty because I was like, I was telling somebody, I was like, yeah, I actually hit her in the face, but it was like what happened. I explained the scenario. They're like, oh shit. I don't blame you then. I would have swung back too. I'm like, but yeah, you're like, that's your loved one there. You don't think about it. They're attacking you, but they're not there. They checked out. Reality is they checked out. And I've never seen that before, and I never wanted to see that again because it was that bad. And I don't remember what led up to it. I think she was doing a lot of drinking too before that point, and then just something in her just snapped. I don't know if it was something had happened. We were talking about something. She was getting loud, I think it was, and I had tried to tell her, I was like, you gotta be quiet. It's like 11 o'clock at night. You gotta be quiet. People are gonna call the cops. You're gonna have the cops at the house. You don't want all that. And then all of a sudden, she, like I said, she went outside and she came back in, and that's when she went to that autopilot mode of just like, holy crap, man. And that was the craziest thing I've ever dealt with in my life. And I was just like, whoa, man. After that, I was like, I don't know if I could keep doing this, because it was just like every time she drank, it's like a whole nother person would come out. And depending on what she would drink, the personality would come out differently. Like whiskey was not allowed in my house. Like, you can't have that because we're not having that again, and I started taking notes, like mental notes of things that she would do and like different things that she would, but it's like she's just sitting there. And I'm talking like aggressively and I'm just like, and then like, eventually it came to like, you could just smell it on her breath all the time. And I was just like, I couldn't do it anymore. To me, honestly, it was just like, I just couldn't do it. And then near the end of it, when we'd eventually split, I had gone over there to pick up something I left over there, and I could just smell it again. And there's just that moment, just flash back to that moment of where she just went complete psychotic. Like, I was just like, oh, hell no. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Forget this.
Yeah, weren't you afraid to remain in the house after that? I
I
mean,
was
weren't
for a
you
little
afraid to
bit.
sleep?
I was. Near the end of it, I was. But after she reassured, yet again, she went in back and reassured me that, oh, this one, oh, it doesn't happen often. And it's never happened before. So, like I said, this was an isolated moment that happened, like where she'd gone complete autopilot. I'd never seen it before. So I was like, oh, shit, But after that, it was like, it got better. And then it got worse, and it would just kind of go up and down. Like she would slow it down for a bit just to keep me off, keep me guessing. And I was just what she didn't realize is always I just kept watching. I was paying attention to what she was doing, the patterns and things she would do. Like she's like, oh, no, I'm doing better. And then she'd be lying to everybody, oh, I'm getting better and everything like that, And she was at one point, she was getting really good. And then all of a sudden, it was just some excuse. Oh, well, this, and then just back at it again, just slamming these things. I'm just like, ugh. I couldn't do it anymore. It was just too much. And eventually at the end, it was like I was sleeping with one eye open in the house. I was like, you're sitting in that room next door because we had 2 bedrooms in our apartment. So I was in the side bedroom. I'm sitting there sleeping with one eye open, like expecting something to happen. Like I got a knife under the pillow kind of thing. Like when it got to that bad, it was like, yeah, I got to get out of here before this becomes a problem, because you don't know what's going to happen. Whatever's that moment, whatever you get said, because she'd always make these like aggressive comments about like, well, don't ignore me when I'm passing you. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like I wouldn't do anything out of the ordinary. Just kind of just do me, kind of do whatever I'm normally doing or whatever. So she'd always make an excuse on what reason why she would get aggressive and things like that. Like she was trying to push me to push her back kind of thing, or, kind of verbally push her back and make her push her over the edge. So she had a reason so she could justify her actions for what she was doing and things like that too. And it's just like, it was crazy, man. But ever since then, I feel so much better. I don't have like my depression's a lot better. My anxiety has been a lot better. I don't have to sleep with one eye open. Like, literally I'm not sleeping with a knife under the pillow because like I don't know what's going to happen. You don't know when that person's going to come to the door freaking out or whatever. So, it's been great though. Like, I'm in a whole new setting now. It's a lot better. I'm on the path to doing better things. So, I mean, it's been really great though.
Yeah, but for your listener, it's important to tell them to just leave. I
Yeah.
mean, not to stay.
Yeah. Don't be
Not
like
to
Pete,
stay.
everybody. Everyone is right. Don't be like Pete,
Don't
everybody. Get out.
don't be like Pete. No. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, just leave. Yeah, if
Yeah, Kenna's like, listen, that's great, man. That's great. But listen, just tell him to get the hell out, man. Don't be telling him to stay and hang out. Well,
yeah,
with that being said,
don't do like Pete.
guys, we're going to wrap up this episode of Pete vs. Anxiety. Catalina, did you want to go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you if they want to reach out to you? I know we have the Facebook group. We're going to put that in the links below. But say they're at home
Yeah,
listening, let them know where they can find you.
they may find me on Facebook, and we will put the link, and we may talk more after that. So they
Right,
may contact
exactly.
me on Facebook.
There you go, guys.
And
You know
on
where to find her.
Facebook, they also have the number. They may contact me on WhatsApp after that, and so on.
There you go, guys. There's where you find her. Well, thank you so much for being here today. I enjoyed having you here. It was a great time. We had some really great
Me too.
laughs. I enjoyed it. So,
Yeah.
guys, go ahead and check her out, guys. Like I said, it'll be in the show notes below, guys. And with that being said, we're going to wrap up this episode of Pete vs. Anxiety, guys. I'm Pete vs. Anxiety. I'm on Spotify all the way down to Pandora Radio. I'm on X all the way down to TikTok. And as I always say, it costs nothing and nothing to be kind to somebody. One kind act you can do can save someone's life, or hell, you can even make their day. I'm Pete vs. Anxiety signing off saying, don't ask how your day is today. Say, hey, how's your mental health today?
So bad, you're breaking my neck. It's a sign of respect, it's a knife for death. But never would die for the price of the checks. I got my integrity and my word.